Infidelity cuts deep. And if you're the person who has betrayed your partner, then you understand the unique pain it causes, the guilt, the shame, the burden of knowing you've deeply hurt someone you care about. The regret can be overwhelming, especially when faced with the impact of your actions and the uncertainty of whether the relationship can survive. It's a lonely, humbling place, filled with self questioning and the difficult task of earning back trust you once broke. But with time, honesty, and commitment, healing is possible. Here are 10 things you need to know if you want to save your relationship. Number 1, tell your partner the truth. The right thing to do is often the hardest thing to do. If your partner is still unaware that you've betrayed them, you have a decision to make. Continue to hide the truth or come clean about what has happened. The thought of telling your partner the truth about your infidelity is likely terrifying. It may even make you physically ill. You might try to convince yourself that it's kinder, even easier for both of you, to keep it hidden forever, that you're sparing them unnecessary pain. But if you want a relationship built on mutual trust and love, you have to do the hard thing. Be honest. Will it be painful? Absolutely. Will they leave you? Maybe. You have no way of knowing what the outcome will be, but your partner deserves the freedom to choose whether they want to stay and fight for the relationship or walk away. And you have to trust that, no matter what happens, you will be okay. At the end of the day, you'll be able to make peace with yourself because you did the right thing, even when it was incredibly difficult. If and when you decide to tell your partner, take full accountability for your actions. Don't minimize or justify your behavior. Apologize. Be honest. Be vulnerable about what you were feeling and be prepared to listen without defensiveness to what they're feeling too. Number 2, give your partner grace and space to process what's happened. Discovering that a partner has been unfaithful can be traumatic, especially in a marriage or long-term relationship. Your partner is likely to experience a wide range of intense emotions: anger, sadness, grief, confusion, and deep betrayal. It's important to understand that you cannot and should not try to control how they think, feel, or act in response. This doesn't mean they have a free pass to be cruel or to retaliate by cheating in return, but it does mean they may express things that are hard to hear. Their reactions may swing between emotional extremes, overreacting due to a heightened nervous system, or underreacting if they're feeling numb or depressed. In these moments, offer patience and compassion. Listen if they want to talk. Try to distinguish between reactions that come from pain and those that come from malicious intent. If your partner has generally been kind and loving, give them the benefit of the doubt. They're likely doing their best to cope with something incredibly painful. You might have thoughts about how private you want to keep the situation, and that's valid. But you cannot dictate who they share their pain with. They may choose to confide in a best friend, sibling, or parent, and they deserve support just as much as you do. It's okay to have a conversation about the reasons you'd prefer certain people not to know, but ultimately it's their decision. That said, if they're telling others solely to shame or smear your name, rather than to seek support, that's a different conversation, and may be a sign that the relationship isn't one you want to continue. Be prepared for others to find out. If and when they do, some people in your life will be upset. Certain relationships may shift, but remember, how people feel today is not necessarily how they'll feel years from now. Give others the space and grace to process what's happened. With time, healing is possible, not just for your partner, but for everyone affected. Number 3, Healing your relationship is a marathon, not a sprint. If you truly love your partner and want to rebuild the relationship, be prepared to work at it consistently, day after day, possibly for years. In marriages and long term relationships, healing from infidelity doesn't happen quickly. It can take a long time for things to feel safe again, for trust to be rebuilt, and for the relationship to resemble what it once was, or to become something new and even stronger. Never underestimate what love, commitment, and consistency can do. Moving forward, you must commit to complete honesty and vulnerability with your partner. If you're not ready to answer a question, it's okay to say, "I'm not ready to talk about that yet." But do not lie. Every deception, no matter how small, puts your already fragile relationship further at risk. Trust isn't rebuilt through big, dramatic gestures. It's rebuilt in the small moments, the everyday acts of care, honesty, and reliability that happen minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. Yes, grand gestures may feel meaningful, but if they're not backed by consistent, everyday effort, your partner may feel you're taking the easy way out. It's much easier to buy flowers or plan a fancy trip than it is to show up every single day in the mundane parts of life, with integrity, humility, and presence. When rebuilding trust, the goal isn't to make up for what you did. It's not a debt to repay. Instead, think of it as a wound that you're helping to heal. You tend to the wound. You care for it. And even if it leaves a scar, the pain can fade. This is where grace comes in, for your partner and also for yourself. Throughout the process of healing your relationship, try to maintain some level of normalcy. This is especially important if you have children. As you're working through this, your children need to feel safe and loved. They do not need to be brought into a situation they will feel powerless to change. Number 4, identify the root cause of the infidelity. Here's something important to remember. Cheating on your partner does not automatically make you a bad person. You didn't cheat because you're inherently bad. Good people, people with values, empathy, and love, sometimes make harmful choices, often for reasons that are complex and deeply rooted. Now is the time to start asking yourself why. Why did you make the choices you did? What was going on internally, emotionally, or psychologically that led you to act in ways that hurt someone you love? If you haven't yet taken the time to examine your past, your emotional triggers, attachment patterns, or unresolved wounds, this is the moment to start. Doing so will allow you to work on two things at once: healing your relationship with your partner and healing your relationship with yourself. Both are essential if you want the relationship not just to survive, but to grow and thrive in the future. Identifying the root causes of your infidelity is not about making excuses. It's about understanding. It's about exploring your inner world with honesty so you can avoid repeating the same behaviors down the line. Remember, excuses are explanations without accountability. You can say, "I understand why I behaved this way," and also take full ownership of the harm your actions caused. The two are not mutually exclusive. In fact, real healing requires both. Cheating is a betrayal, and the harm it causes is real. But it's essential to understand that infidelity is often a symptom, not the root problem itself. It doesn't automatically make you a bad person. Rather, it means something within you or within your relationship was deeply misaligned, unexamined, or unresolved. To begin the healing process, both for yourself and your relationship, you need to look beneath the surface and ask the hard questions. Why did I do this? What was I trying to escape, soothe, or prove? What needs or wounds was I unaware of or neglecting? Some common root causes of infidelity include unmet emotional needs, often unspoken or unrecognized. You may have felt emotionally neglected, unseen, or disconnected in your relationship. Sometimes we don't even realize how much we crave validation, attention, or intimacy until we experience it from someone new. That doesn't justify the betrayal, but it helps explain the emotional void you were trying to fill. Understanding this can help you articulate your needs more honestly in the future, rather than acting out of scarcity or resentment. Avoidance of conflict or vulnerability. Some people cheat not because they want someone new, but because they're terrified of addressing issues in the current relationship. Infidelity becomes an escape hatch, an attempt to feel control, power, or pleasure without having to face uncomfortable conversations or emotional risk. If you struggle to speak your truth or set boundaries, cheating can be a way of expressing suppressed feelings in the most destructive way possible. Low self esteem or need for external validation. If your self worth is fragile, being desired by someone outside your relationship can feel intoxicating. You might chase that temporary high to prove your worth, desirability, or relevance, but the effect is always fleeting and often followed by guilt and shame. Healing here involves building internal self worth so that you're no longer dependent on external validation to feel enough. Unresolved trauma or attachment wounds. Childhood trauma, emotional neglect, abandonment, or abuse can deeply shape how you relate to others. If you've never processed these experiences, they may lead to subconscious behaviors rooted in fear of intimacy, sabotage, or a distorted understanding of love. Some people push away closeness because they fear being hurt. Others seek out safety in multiple connections because they don't trust one person to meet their needs. Therapy or trauma informed counseling can help you explore these patterns safely. Lack of personal boundaries or impulse control. Sometimes cheating is less about emotional complexity and more about poor boundaries with others and with yourself. You may have put yourself in situations where temptation was present and didn't set clear limits, or you may have given in to impulse without thinking about long-term consequences. If this is the case, part of your work will be developing self-discipline and integrity, even when no one is watching. Addiction or escapism. In some cases, infidelity is tied to addiction, whether it's substance abuse, sex addiction, or a compulsive need to escape reality. If you've used cheating as a form of self soothing or numbing, it's crucial to seek help for the underlying addiction rather than treating the affair as an isolated incident. What this process isn't. Uncovering the reasons behind your behavior is not about justifying it. It's not about making your partner responsible, nor is it a script for apology that minimizes harm. It's about owning your actions and exploring their roots so you can become someone who doesn't repeat them, someone capable of true conscious love and integrity. What this process is: a commitment to radical honesty with yourself, a willingness to be uncomfortable, a path toward emotional maturity, a step toward becoming a safer, more trustworthy partner. You don't need to have all the answers right away. Start by being curious about yourself, your story, your patterns, your pain, and seek help if needed. Therapy, coaching, or even honest journaling can be powerful tools in this journey. Remember, the goal is not to explain it away. The goal is to understand so you can grow, because growth is what transforms pain into purpose. Number 5, if possible, seek support from a mental health professional. Healing from infidelity, whether you're working to repair the relationship or processing the aftermath on your own, can be overwhelming, painful, and confusing. While it's not mandatory to work with a mental health professional, doing so can be a powerful asset in your healing journey. A qualified therapist offers more than just a listening ear. They can help you process difficult emotions like guilt, shame, grief, anger, and fear in a healthy and constructive way. Uncover deeper patterns and root causes behind the infidelity, such as unresolved trauma, attachment issues, or self sabotaging behaviors. Improve communication skills, making it easier to have honest, productive conversations with your partner. Set boundaries and rebuild trust slowly and intentionally, whether you stay in the relationship or not. Hold space for both accountability and compassion for yourself and your partner. Therapy can also serve as a neutral, judgment free space where both partners feel heard and validated. In couples therapy, a trained professional can help you navigate difficult conversations without escalating into blame or defensiveness. This is especially important when trust is fragile and emotions are running high. Even if your partner doesn't want to attend therapy, individual counseling can still be transformative. Healing starts with you. The more self aware and emotionally grounded you are, the more clearly you'll be able to see what's next, whether that means rebuilding the relationship or finding peace as you move forward separately. And if therapy feels out of reach due to cost or access, consider other forms of support. Support groups for couples recovering from infidelity, books and podcasts by licensed therapists or relationship experts, online therapy platforms that offer flexible, affordable options, faith based counseling, if that aligns with your values. Whatever path you choose, know that seeking help is not a sign of weakness. It's a courageous step toward clarity, growth, and healing. Number 6, create distance from people, places, and habits that hinder your healing. In order to truly heal and to rebuild trust in your relationship, you may need to make significant changes in your environment, habits, and social circles. This means taking an honest look at what and who contributes to unhealthy patterns in your life. Toxic friendships or social groups that normalize or encourage infidelity. Environments where alcohol, drugs, or casual sex are readily available and tempting people who disrespect your relationship or speak poorly about your partner. Workplaces that foster inappropriate closeness or blurred boundaries. Habits like compulsive pornography use, sexting, or digital flirting. Escapist behaviors that disconnect you from your values. This isn't about living in shame or punishment. It's about setting yourself up for success. If your goal is to become someone who acts with integrity, faithfulness, and emotional maturity, then your surroundings must support that goal. Yes, these changes might be inconvenient. You may have to let go of people, routines, or coping mechanisms that once felt comfortable. But comfort isn't the goal. Growth is. Healing requires intention and sometimes sacrifice. Creating distance doesn't mean you're running away, it means you're clearing space for something better. Number 7, don't internalize negative opinions on the internet. When you're searching for advice or support online, especially in forums or comment sections about infidelity, you'll likely come across harsh and judgmental statements like, once a cheater, always a cheater. They'll never change. Anyone who cheats is just a terrible person. These kinds of sweeping generalizations may reflect the pain of betrayed people, but they are not absolute truths, and they don't define you. While it's true that some people continue harmful patterns and never take accountability, you are not bound to that path. You can choose growth, you can choose honesty, you can choose to become someone different from who you were when you made those choices. You don't have to accept the label of cheater as your permanent identity. You're a whole human being, and while what you did is part of your story, it doesn't have to be your final chapter. That said, be mindful of where you get your guidance. Look for resources rooted in healing, accountability, and hope, not in shame and bitterness. You are not here to prove your worth to strangers on the internet. You are here to do the work, heal what's broken, and build something better. Number 8, healing is not a straight line. Healing after infidelity will not be linear. The journey won't unfold in a predictable or tidy way, and that's normal. Just when things seem to be improving, when you start laughing together again, reconnecting physically, or sharing deeper emotional intimacy, unexpected waves of sadness, anger, or grief may surface. These moments of closeness can stir up powerful reminders of how things used to be before the betrayal and how much was lost when trust was broken. This can trigger days or even weeks of what feels like emotional setbacks. This doesn't mean you're failing. This emotional whiplash is a natural part of the process. The brain and body need time to recalibrate after trauma, but have faith. The lows will become less frequent and less intense over time. As you continue to show up with honesty, compassion, and a genuine desire to grow, both individually and as a couple, your emotional foundation will begin to stabilize. You'll learn to navigate conflict with more grace, to communicate more openly, and to rebuild a sense of safety and connection that's rooted in truth. When the hard days come, and they will, you will learn not to panic. Instead of seeing them as signs that you're back at square one, you will see them for what they are: natural detours on a long, winding road that, if meant to be, will lead you back to each other. Healing is still happening, even in the messiness. Number 9, create opportunities to have fun together. When a relationship has been shaken by betrayal or conflict, it's easy to become consumed by pain, anxiety, and uncertainty about the future. While it's important to work through those emotions, it's equally crucial to make space for joy, lightness, and connection. One of the most powerful ways to begin healing together is by intentionally seeking out moments of fun. Set aside time where the focus isn't on the conflict, the past, or the heavy conversations. Instead, engage in an activity you both enjoy, whether it's going for a hike, playing a board game, cooking a new recipe together, or watching a comedy. Even simple shared laughter can begin to rebuild a sense of connection. Remember the old saying, laughter is the best medicine? There's truth in it. Laughter releases tension, boosts mood, and reminds you that you're more than just your struggles. You're partners who once shared joy and still can. Making space for fun doesn't mean you're ignoring the issues. It means you're choosing to nurture the parts of the relationship that are still alive and worth fighting for. Number 10, have faith that your relationship can not only survive, but thrive. Many of us grew up with idealized, even romanticized ideas about love, commitment, and marriage. We were taught that true love means no one ever strays, that soulmates never hurt each other, and that betrayal equals the end. But real love, mature love, is far more complicated, and it can be far more powerful. It's easy to believe that something like infidelity permanently destroys a relationship. It's certainly a shattering experience. The foundation cracks, the trust is broken, the pain is real and deep. But here's the truth: love can survive infidelity. And not just survive, it can evolve, deepen, and even thrive. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button or leave a comment. Subscribe to this channel and get access to more videos on self-discovery, relationships, and more. Thank you for watching.